Okay, it's the 22nd of November, and we are just about to have our home inspection at your new property. 1801 18505 Lorenzen Place. Lots of eights, lucky number with the Chinese market. So, I'm just going to do always a video so you always have my voice and opinion, and, you know, just me saying with myself, my license, and my insurance, what my thoughts are on the building. So this should only be maybe 7 minutes or so, hopefully. So all the documents are here. Everything is in good order. There are 102 units. There's 7 phases in this development. There is a gym and a common area with barbecues, washrooms, etc., which of course it's COVID, so we won't see any of it, so it'll be a big surprise when COVID is over. The gym sounds like it's pretty good. It looks pretty big on the strata plans. I can see you know, how big it looks. It sounds like it has heavy weights because they say in the bylaws not to drop them, etc., and bother other units. I'm not really concerned about where you're located because you're a corner. You're only going to have one common wall. And you're kind of tucked in the development a bit, so I don't foresee you having any noise issues from any of the common properties whatsoever. I think your location is actually really nice. So your maintenance fee is $256 a month. The management company is Alliance. You know, it's a good management company. They're kind of all just decent. They have a really hard job managing people who are always complaining. You know, it's very common to call and not get a call back for a day or two, etc. Just kind of the way property management is. These guys are very good. They're still, you know, I find that stratas change every couple of years. It's just the way it goes. So the building has been on budget. I think they had a deficit of like $2,000 one year. The biggest thing with this building is that, I mean, honestly, I haven't read minutes this good in a long time. There's virtually nothing wrong with it. Nothing. You know, a few little things like, you know, where the irrigation is. There's been some muddy yards. There was some backflow. They dealt with the developers, like just like small little items. In this building, because I'm staring at it right here, the biggest thing has been just lots of like complaints and lots of telling on each other and lots of bylaw infractions, because everybody is learning how to live in a strata together, and it's a new strata. And so they're kind of creating new rules, and, you know, like maybe you have you know, an owner next door to you who's always smoking weed, and it's coming inside your unit, and then you complain, and then they make a new bylaw, no smoking weed, right? So there's lots of that kind of stuff, like little kind of nitty gritty stuff that always happens when you're forming a strata. So that's really the biggest thing, is lots of like nitty gritty little complaints and stuff. So the contingency fund is $110,000, so that's $1,000 per unit. Which is really healthy, actually, considering the age of the building. It's almost too healthy. So, you know, I guess you can never be too healthy, but you can be too healthy too. Like, you don't need to make a contingency reserve fund for a building this age so big, because, you know, if you guys are building it up and say you move in 3 to 5 years, then you built up someone else's reserve fund. So, you know, 1,500 to 2,000 is very healthy. 1,000 is healthy. So you get 2 parking stalls. You are not in a unit that you can park in the, what's it called? It's called the seam, or they have a name for it. I'll find it here. You're not in one of the units where you can park perpendicular to your unit. Okay. So, I mean, you may see some people doing it. You'll see how it goes as you get there. Just know there's five of the rows that are allowed to, because they have the larger kind of, you know, bays outside of their parking, but it looks like 18th is not one of those. So just be aware, if you do park illegally there all the time, you may get a fine for $50. Okay, so you're allowed to have 2 cats, 2 dogs, reasonable pets, no vicious dogs. If you're going to do any large alterations, you need to just ask permission. Just write a note to council. I'd like to remove these 3 walls, and then they'll say yes or no. It's structural. They have all the drawings, right? Really, the biggest thing is like no smoking is a big one. The parking bylaws, people having their bins outside. So garbage bins need to go inside your garage. You can't just leave them outside all the time. People complain. It doesn't look nice, right? No short-term accommodations, no Airbnbs, etc. They do not want any of that stuff. You can have a barbecue on your deck, which is good. You're allowed to have a little fire pit on your deck as well, as long as you don't burn the exterior. It's not vinyl, so it should be okay. Yeah, anyways, just gotta be careful if you do if you do something to it, then you'll have to fix it. It's not a big deal. We see people who lift barbecue things on the sides of buildings all the time. It doesn't cost that much to fix it. It's just kind of, it's annoying. It doesn't look that good. So yeah, the gym, it talks about the hours, and even like Nathan, he can go to the gym with you, right, at age 12 and up. So that's kind of cool if you wanted to teach your kid to work out. I think that's awesome. It's COVID, right? So it just talks about Christmas lights. Like, you can put up Christmas lights November 1st to the 15th. You can have a real tree. Your storage is in the unit. The bylaws are really good. They really kind of cover everything. They're not too big, but they're not too small. I find the building seems very reasonable, and really kind of very clean. It's not like some buildings are overzealous, some buildings don't care at all. So I find it's just in the middle. Okay. So your insurance is current, which is good, because insurance policies and changes to them are the biggest things, I'd say, of 2018, 19, and 20. So your policy was September 18th, 2020. It's current. So then you'll take that policy, because your insurance, your strata fees would have gone up for it, and you're going to take it to your insurance guy, and then they're going to, or girl, and they're going to make sure it lines up, and so you have proper coverage. Okay. So stratas had, there was all over the news, there was all these media stories. Yeah, there's been big changes, but it just is, it is what it is. The way it was before was not efficient. It was totally expensive, and like, I can see why the insurance companies changed it, right? Like in here, one of the guys, he changed tap, without authorization, didn't know how, flooded his neighbor's unit, and then normally insurance coverage would pay for that. Now they're like, no, you get insurance, your insurance covers for it. If you're gonna do illegal, stupid things, you're not a plumber. It makes complete sense to me. So here I am, already over 7 minutes. Okay, so the strata is figuring out their budgets. They're very on budget. Visitor parking, so you can have overnight guests, no problem. You just need to have a visitor parking pass, so I hope you have lots of overnight guests. Yeah, they're raising the strata fees every year by inflation. So this year it was $6, so that's really healthy. Like, a building that's not raising strata fees by inflation is not doing a good job. So, and most don't, actually. So these guys, whoever's running the strata, is doing a really good job. Depreciation report. Yeah, so you will find there's a depreciation report that comes, and that will show all 30 years of the components of the building. Likely they'll do one in the next year or two, and that will show the next 30 years ahead what needs to be done in the building. It's just a great way to plan for any improvements. Likely you will have, I'm not a home inspector, you're doing your own home inspection. I should recommend you do inspection. It's likely your first repair will be in 20 years or so with your first roof. That's your first major repair, and that would cost a unit like yours maybe $12,000 in today's money. So